Hi, welcome everyone to our innovation fireside chats. I'm joined by JM Guthrie and Darren Johnson. Perhaps just do a quick little intro.
Hey, JM Guthrie with Authentic. Thanks for having us.
Darren Johnson, I'm with BloomReach.
To Mike. And I'm Chris McCann. I'm on the sales team at commercetools. We've had a good run of success recently with our starter store, our accelerator store. And powered by the relationship that we have with Authentic, who's had a storied relationship with BloomReach going back quite some time, and also with BloomReach and commercetools being a nascent relationship. It's a relationship that certainly makes sense for an awful lot of reasons, right? And perhaps it'd be good for you, Darren, to explain why commercetools, why BloomReach, and the value that it adds to customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've all been seeing this wave coming. It is a new world of open, microservice, API first approaches to the market. What's the real value proposition out of the buzzwords? It's velocity.
Velocity.
Right? We can move faster. Faster time to value, faster time to live, faster time to scale. Working with forward-thinking companies like Authentic that are going to dig in and do interesting kind of first-generation stuff. I think we're starting to prove out the value of the promise of the new platforms. I used to sell ATG, don't want to do it anymore. IBM WebSphere, the Adobe Magento play, those are challenging value propositions in a market that's looking for API first, fast, high velocity, time to value.
Yeah,
and I think that's what we're delivering.
Yeah, and one of the reason actually why I joined commercetools was that conversation that would come from our ATG customers with my previous employer, and what do we do for our next, what's the next modern architecture? How do we get out of this upgrade cycle that we're doing every 3 years? How do we not prepare for Black Friday 9 months ahead of time, right? And so JM, it'd be good for you to add some value here as you're talking to your customers. And one of the things I appreciate most about the relationship that we have jointly with Authentic is the relationship that you, David Rowe and team, have with your customers and really ensuring their success. So JM, in your experience, particularly having gone through this with Page Denim, and we're working on a couple of other brands right now, how does this marriage between two best-of-breed solutions really help a brand like Page Denim and others come to life?
Sure. I mean, I think Darren hit it right on the head by saying speed and agility, but also telling a story, not being held together by a template that a lot of these technologies are providing. So as you start looking at the separation of content from delivery, being cloud-based, the performance of that, no downtime, we're allowing these customers to make investments in smart technologies that are trending in all of these places, like microservices, like APIs, like surfacing content or commerce in any sort of delivery zone that you want, whether that's in a vehicle, whether that's on a website, whether that's using VR, it really doesn't matter. But the reality is we want to do that quickly so that they invest their money on something that makes sense, but then they'll continue to invest and we're continuing to improve versus having to rip and replace, which we've seen a lot of organizations have to do across the board with a lot of these more monolithic technologies.
So, and Darren, we've seen many of these customers that are coming off of monolithic solutions, right, and looking for that next modern architecture and the pain points that they have with that. Commerce, for all intents and purposes, in this market is commoditized, right? From an agency perspective, from an implementation perspective, it's really commerce as a service and injecting, APIs and making something like BloomReach specifically shoppable. So, and in fact, BloomReach then becomes the commerce platform, and you're really then driving experience and helping to differentiate as a brand. What are you seeing with your customers? And
listen, we're seeing a ton of value with commercetools as that commerce platform. I think it might be going a little far saying it's a commoditized service. What you guys doing with respect to the ability to execute with PIMs, right, and data management, I think it's a little far from a commoditized service. But it does need to be a service that's delivered by an API approach. And from the BloomReach perspective, we're trying to deliver the experience part of this story. How do we deliver in a faster, more high-velocity manner appropriate experiences to the customers we serve through multiple digital channels? 1. 2, if we could do that through an API service, we can do it with data and intelligence and algorithms. So our big focus is on content and on search. Search in particular, from a commerce perspective, is incredibly important. And we need these search engines to get better as we sleep. We do not want to any longer manually curate them, right? You can manually curate your ATG environment like you're going to manually curate your Endeca environment. It's 2019. It's time for these things to learn get smarter, let the algorithms take on the garbage work, and elevate your resources to do more intelligent things with merchandising and the data that we're putting through our combined platform. The thing I'm most excited about is, at the end of the day, it's the age-old vendor challenge. Best of breed versus, single solution. And I've watched Adobe, I've watched Oracle, wall the garden, lock it up, buy only from them. And that's not where I see commerce companies being able to compete and keep themselves open and nimble. Our modular approach, you don't have to sell every single one of your commerce services out of the gate.
Nope.
Right? Use the ones you need. Figure it out. Service by service, API by API. You want to leverage BloomReach search, right, with our Commerce Tools platform? Do it. Authentic's done it, right? You want to leverage CMS? We could do that too. It's about choice, it's about options, it's about sequencing of how to execute into the next generation platform.
Yeah, and I'm even reluctant to call it a starter store, right? Because then a starter store, by definition, in my experience, implies that it's got boxed-in functionality. What you're doing is you're taking the best-of-breed solutions between the search and merch and the digital experience platform and what BloomReach brings to the table in Commerce Tools, and you're getting that up and running fast, 6 to 8 weeks. Right. I mean,
velocity.
Say that again.
Velocity.
3 times. Right. And it was just such a huge differentiator compared to where we came from.
It's not just flexibility of the modules or the functionality or the features or the APIs, it's also the front end, right? So you can use the front end of BloomReach, which works fantastic, but you could also build something in a single page application architecture using Angular or React and really start to surface only that functionality or even only those features in certain aspects of the experience, which is that page. And that page can be the web, that page can be your mobile device, that page could be one of these kiosks here at the show. It really doesn't matter. We want to take that restriction away, allow for that flexibility, allow brands to tell their story, to differentiate against the Amazons and these other sort of searchandising type sites, to allow for a real true differentiation to drive both revenue in a retail perspective, but to Darren's point, from a B2B perspective, you're right. The PIM in Commerce Tools and the ability to bundle these products is going to be a huge value proposition as well for this relationship, and we're seeing that with these big brands that all of a sudden are interested in Commerce Tools, which we'll keep to ourselves, I guess, for today, right?
Any last thoughts?
Listen, we sell well to the folks that are focused on architecture for the next level. Right? This is the microservice path. That's a buzzword. But again, it's about speed. It's about speed to value, measurable value. And I think, not just our starter store, which is a reference implementation to, again, drive higher velocity. We have a relationship to deliver a single throat to choke with best of breed technology. Right? You don't need to back up the truck and be locked in to Adobe for $4 million a year, right. When you're trying to move and be nimble with your business.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're hitting a very interesting spot in the market.
It's about the customer, right? It is still the customer experience. It's not just a transaction. And so if we're able to provide that in more context, if we're using AI and being able to do that at night, like you said, and not have humans actually tailoring that content as well, we're going to win. And if we can provide it more in context, if we can get them to the path that they want to be faster in whatever channel that is, then we're going to win. And if they feel that and can connect to it, then we're in the right place and we're providing that experience.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you want the next generation platform, you don't want to get fired, you don't want to screw your successor over when he takes over in a couple years, you get Commerce Tools. If you want next generation AI search and navigation, if you want empowered merchandising and execution, if you want connected content to do more than just sell products, you buy the solution with Commerce Tools and BloomReach. And if you want it done right with super smart people that have the experience and have put the bullets through the barrel, you do it through Authentic. But you have choice. Move fast.
We're really grateful for the partnership. Thanks to both of you.
Yep, thank you.
All right.